Hello, I'm Annie, and these are my musings. So, if you've seen the title of this video, you know what I'm going to be talking about. This is actually a topic that I know a lot about, being a fan of many things. But before I get started, a few disclaimers. First of all, I am in no way saying that all fans of XYZ thing are bad or toxic or whatever, because that's not the case. I genuinely believe that the fans that are toxic are a small minority. They're just very loud and very obnoxious. And they have far too much power. They shouldn't really have any power because, for reasons that I'll get into in this video. So, second of all, I am also not saying that every single person belongs to the same demographic groups as these toxic fans is toxic, because I don't believe that either. I think that, it's a small, tiny, minority of these people who are toxic, not because of who they are, but because of how they treat other people and how they begrudge other people their happiness and representation. So, that's what I'm mainly focusing on in this video. Okay, so without further ado, I'm basically basing this video on a Variety article about toxic fandoms and things that, studios are doing to sort of combat them. And one thing that was mentioned in the article was a super fan sort of focus group, right? So you get a bunch of fans together and they tell you oh, fans wouldn't like this, fans wouldn't like that, blah blah. But the problem that I see with that is most likely they're not going to be looking for a diverse group of fans with a variety of perspectives. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen, most likely, is these groups will be dominated by a certain kind of fan. And this kind of fan is the toxic kind of fan that will not shut up about how XYZ plotline ruined the thing forever or whatever. And it's it didn't. Hate to break it to you, but it didn't. And honestly, as a fan of many things, if you don't like a plotline, you don't like a plotline. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. But if you not liking a plotline ruins the entire thing for you, then, that's okay too. For example, I will never rewatch Game of Thrones because of how terrible the ending was. But I'm not gonna go chase down people who did like the ending. I don't care. You enjoy it if you enjoyed it. I didn't, for what I think are very valid reasons, but everyone's different. Everyone has different tastes. And But if you look at a show or a movie or a book or whatever you're being a fan of, and you genuinely don't like it anymore because of like a specific plot line, and in most cases it's not even the plots, in my opinion. It's just the existence of characters who are not white cis-het men. Like, let's be honest. So, here's the thing. You can dislike a plotline, that's fine. Everyone has, their own tastes and stories and what they like and what they don't like, and that's all good. When it becomes toxic, in my opinion, is when you say, because I don't like it, it shouldn't exist. There's a lot of stories I don't like. Like, I challenge you to name one of them besides Stranger Things, because that's the only one I talk about really regularly. Yeah, like, there are a ton of stories I don't like. I don't spend my time engaging with them. I don't spend my time, like, thinking about them. Like, the only time I ever think of, like, even Stranger Things is, like, if someone else brings it up, or if, I see a post online about it or whatever. And I think that's how it should be, personally. Like, I think if you don't like something, you don't have to watch it. Like, I gave Stranger Things a chance, twice. I watched the entirety of season 1, and I didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. But I'm not going to say to a Stranger Things fan, well, because this story didn't cater to me personally, it's terrible and everyone who likes it is an idiot. I'm not going to do that. Because that would be toxic behavior. And that's what I'm getting at with these fans. Like, the reason they're toxic is not because they dislike things, not because they have criticisms, because criticism is actually good if it's constructive. But they don't have constructive criticism. All they have is hate. They hate anyone who, challenges their belief systems, and they hate any story that doesn't, like, remind them of whatever story that they think is good. But largely, even those stories they think are good, like, they don't understand those stories. They really don't. Because the toxic fans are largely white cis-het men. Like, let's be honest. I mean, some white cis-het women too, like, I'm in the Bridgerton fandom, and there are a lot of, like, cis-het women in that fandom who are like, no, Francesca can't be LGBT, they can't change Michael to Michaela, and I'm like, why not? Like, I haven't read the books yet. And as someone who's read a lot of books and seen them adapted, I understand wanting a story to be faithful to a book. That I can understand. But I would never, ever tell someone who's not represented well in fiction that, yeah, sorry, you don't get to have this story. You don't get to have this representation because I don't like it. Like, okay. So, basically, these toxic fans are not just toxic. They're bigoted. They're prejudiced. They're just against equality in all its forms. And what they're mostly against is anything they see as representing groups of people that they're not part of. And it's like, I'm not a person of color, I'm white. But if there's a character out there, like, I don't know, I'm just pulling a character out of thin air, Black Panther, for example. That character, he's very important to people of color, and I'm not gonna, like, I happen to like that character, but let's say, hypothetically, that I didn't. I would not go around, like, trying to get rid of that character. I would just not engage. That's what these toxic fans don't seem to understand. If something is not for you, or is no longer for you, you don't have to engage with it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to spend time, thinking about it or trying to get it to be more for you. You can just ignore it. See, here's the thing. They're never going to do that. Because they're not really fans in the true sense of the term. Like, they might think they like the thing, but if you, actually talk to them, all they talk about is oh, this story has too many women. This story has too many color. This story has too many LGBT. And I'm like, why do you care though? How does that affect you? It doesn't. Literally, if you think that marginalized groups being represented in a story negatively affects your life, I don't know what to say, because it doesn't. It never could. And the fact that you think it does just shows your lack of empathy. And, imagine if this was done in reverse. Now, it never would be, because people who are, underrepresented in the media don't tend to, whine about the majority group being represented, because, we're not annoying like that. But let's say every time there was a white man protagonist, I was complaining, and so many people were complaining. After a while, you get tired of it, and rightfully so. But, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. But every single time there's a woman in a lead role, a person of color, or an LGBT person, these people complain. So, when do we address the elephant in the room and recognize that these are not just toxic fans, they're prejudiced jerks, and they need to be treated as such. They need to be, called out, and they need to be, pretty much shut out from any fandom for the thing that they claim to be a fan of. Because the odds are they don't really care about it. They care about themselves more than anything, and they don't want any story to grow or change, because that would mess with their worldview way too much. Let's take Doctor Who as an example, because I'm wearing a Doctor Who shirt, and I'm a big Doctor Who fan, as you know. If every Doctor Who fan who complained about the Doctor being a woman, let's say some of the biggest, hardcore fans who, hated that change, got some kind of official say in, the direction of the show, I would protest the heck out of that. Because, in my opinion, begrudging people representation is the exact opposite of what the Doctor would do. The Doctor is like the original fighter for equality. The Doctor believes that everyone is equal. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Everyone deserves to be treated well. And you're telling me that the Doctor who regenerates and changes every cell in their body can't be a woman or can't be a person of color? Like, I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. It really is. And even if it wasn't, even if it, doesn't make sense, like, it's a sci-fi story. It doesn't have to make sense. Like, have you people not heard of suspension of disbelief? Stories are just stories. They don't always make sense in every possible way. Like, weird. People are weird. So basically, and another reason why I think that this whole idea of like, oh well, let's not upset the fans, let's make sure, like, okay, but which fans? Who are you talking about? Because if you're talking about like the people who are whining about representation, you're never ever going to make them happy unless you eliminate all women, all people of color, all LGBT characters. That's the only way they'll be happy. And I don't want that. And if you want that, get off my channel. Like, I don't understand how anyone could begrudge someone else happiness or representation. I couldn't do that to someone else. And I don't want them to me either. Like, I don't want the stories that I consume to never have representation. I want them to have tons of representation. And if they don't, I'll just ignore them. That's why I hate Stranger Things. Oh, that's not the only reason, but it's one of them. Like, I'm sorry, but trying to appease these toxic fans who are actually bigots is never gonna work, because you will never appease them until you get rid of all representation. That's what they want. And I don't want that. And most people don't want that. Most people don't want to eliminate representation. And if they do, well, that's a problem. That's a problem that needs to be solved, because, like, by that logic, all the women, all the people of color, all the LGBT people who are fans of these things just don't exist. But they do. They do exist. So yeah. Another reason why appeasing these fans won't work is because if you appease them, not only do you get rid of all representation, which would not be good for the fans who are part of marginalized groups, but also you can't take any risks with your story. And that makes for a boring story. Like, genuinely, why would you want that? You know? Because the majority of these toxic fans want everything to say the same and to tell the same story over and over again, and I'm sorry, but that's boring. Let's take Doctor Who as an example. Now, you all know I love Doctor Who. And I have for a long time. Like, since I was in high school. And I started with the Ninth Doctor. I still have to watch Classic Who. But, I've been a fan for a while. And honestly, no hate to anyone who enjoys the new era. No hate to anyone behind the new era. Like, I'm happy if people are enjoying it. Like, I enjoyed aspects of it too. But other than like a few episodes here and there that I thought were like really well written and really stood out, I think this past season of Doctor Who is kind of, in a way, not entirely, because, Shudikawa is a black man and his doctor is openly interested in other men. Like, that's fine. That's good. That's good representation. But all the people who were like complaining that Jodie played the doctor, they're also complaining now. And I'll tell you why. Because their complaint wasn't that the doctor was a woman. Their complaint was that the doctor wasn't a white cis man. That's all they care about. That's all. Like, these jerks do not believe that anyone else exists or matters. Now, you may be saying, are they all white cis men? No. Not all of them. A lot of them, but not all of them. I'm in the Bridgerton fandom. There's a ton of cis women in there who are like, no, we can't have LGBT characters. I'm like, why not? Why not? There's no actual reason, by the way. It's just bigotry. It's just prejudice. And it needs to be stopped. Like, when someone's being prejudiced and harmful to other people, you don't then give in and allow them to do further harm. You stop them. And the only way to stop them is to make sure, A, they don't have any power, B, that you just make the stories that you want to make, regardless of what they say, because they're gonna complain no matter what. Like, you could make a story about a white cis man who runs into another white cis man, and then they talk about how much they hate women and blah blah, and they're still gonna find a way to complain. Because they like complaining. They like, you'll write a male character who has, emotions, and they'll complain about that. Like, you can't win. So don't try. Just ignore that. Like these stupid, annoying jerks that they are. And don't give in to them. Because if you give in to them, you're harming a lot of other people. If you give in to them, you're telling marginalized groups that, sorry, well, we tried, but we can't represent you anymore because people complained. Except that doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Everyone, every single person deserves to be represented in the media they consume. And if you don't agree, tough. You gotta deal with it. Deal with your own prejudice. With your own, self or friends or therapist or whatever. Like, don't take it out on other people. Because other people deserve better. I think that's all I've got to say for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.